so in love with you.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. So obviously rates surge again. The inventory is still flatlined. So basically, guys, what happened this week, like I said, rates went up once again, putting a lot more pressure on the US housing market and potential buyers. Inventory for homes is also at an all-time low, and with a recession right around the corner, it's looking more and more likely like a housing market crash will happen in 2022. Personally, I think at the end of this year, but we are seeing a bunch of things transpire in a very quick amount of time. So today what we're going to essentially look at are data points and graphs for all of the things that I just mentioned. Now, what I'm going to start doing, like I said, is putting my data points in the description below. So definitely go there to reference these data points. Now, I'm really going to emphasize our data points here, you guys, and who I'm using for a lot of my data is Fred Economic Data, who have basically been providing data since 1991. Now, I stick with them because it seems to be the most reliable data point because quite frankly, not everything that you're going to see in the news is actually what's the reality of the situation. So some of the things are just creating pandemonium like this. I saw this and I referenced the article title in one of my last videos. And what I did not point out is this number right here, 4.72% being the new average 30-year fixed rate mortgage as of Tuesday. I did not reference that in my videos because like I said, I'm a loan officer in Texas. I'm a realtor in Houston. This is just my opinion, but I was like, there's no way it went to 4.76. What I like to do is allow Fred to update their data point graphs so we get the all-around data for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. So the way we're going to start this video out is we're going to dig into that graph first, and then we are going to end on the treasury yields just to take a look to see whether or not there are any additional recession indicators. Let's get started on the first graph right now, which is the Fred Economic Data 30-year fixed rate mortgage average. So we got to see what happened between last week and this week. It updates every Thursday. Okay, guys, as you can see here, it is now updated. It updated Thursday, March 24th. This is a good area to get data. Like I said, they have a bunch of different data on the economy and specifically the housing market, and they've been very reliable. So what's interesting to note is basically the increase from last Thursday to this Thursday. The current new 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 4.42%, okay? Up from 4.16% on March 17th. So essentially what that has done is removed another roughly 2.5% in purchasing power because it went up roughly 26 points. Now, as of March 3rd, here's March 3rd. So the rates were actually this month, 3 weeks ago, we're at 3.76, essentially a 66 basis point difference from where we're at today, which essentially means in about 2 weeks' time, 6.6% of purchasing power has been removed from the housing market. Very interesting to note because remember when the Federal Reserve met and reported last Wednesday, all they did is hike the federal discount rate 25 basis points. They actually came out after that and said more like 50 basis points, taking a more hawkish approach, which is really probably a super good thing. Again, just my opinion. Now, here's the other thing, you guys. Not only was purchasing power struck again by the surge of interest rates, consumer confidence is still at an all-time low. But here's the thing, you guys. If you're frustrated, if you're out of the housing market, you can't get a home, you can't get a home offer accepted right now, consider yourself blessed. You got to really change your mindset to everyone that's frustrated and that just wants to give up. The housing market is turning faster than I thought. So all of the people, all of the consumers that are, like I'm saying, that are frustrated, don't be frustrated. Consider yourself lucky. Inventory will increase like it always does. Now we're going to look at the next set of graphs right now, which is basically the inventory of existing homes. And then we're also going to look at a graph regarding the new listing count. The reason I think these are super important is because, to be honest, we all know that we have a huge shortage of inventory, but we should kind of be having a shortage of inventory because, again, look at the months. We're really at a February, January into March month, which is traditionally a low inventory month. So we're going to look at the existing home sales now, and then we're going to follow it up as far as where we should be with new listings coming to the market. And I think you guys will be surprised. Let's start now. Okay, again, here's the Fred graph. And as you guys can see here, the inventory peaked in July of 2021, which is really hard to believe, at 1.3 million. Okay, this is existing home sales as far as the housing inventory in the US. So as of July, it was at 1.3 million. Fast forward to today, it goes to February. As of February, there were 870,000 homes on the market. So, again, under a million. Now, the problem is that's way too low. We need more inventory. Now, a couple of the ways we get more inventory is by new builds and we basically need these new home builders to give us new homes, to give us more inventory, but also what we rely on are resale homes and new listings. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at where we're at with the new listings. Okay, guys, again, I'm using Fred here. Now, here we are. Okay, this is January. So as of January 2022, new listings were at 362,000. Okay, but what I really want you guys to know is this is a 5-year graph of new listings. So this is new listings coming to the market. Now, if you guys can see here, there have been peaks and what looks like crashes. They're not crashes, but you look this dip here, this dip here, this dip here, 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 and here. Now, what this all has in common is it's right around January. Look, the first dip, that's in December and January. Right here, December, January, here, December, January. This was in April. This was during COVID. Right, again, here, December, January. Look, we have a super low listings coming up, not because we don't have homes to sell. And I know there's a little bit of fear in the market as well if you're a seller, but quite frankly, a lot of people want to sell right now because essentially there's never been a better time to sell your house and cash in. The question remains is what will you do after you sell your house? And then it gets a little dicey. But as you can see from the new listings coming to the market, we haven't even hit the peak listing season. So that could be good news if you're a first-time home buyer, especially, or even just a buyer, because what that means is as we go on throughout this year, there traditionally and historically will be more and more listings coming to the market. Now, again, that's topped with new home builds. New home builders are building like crazy right now. I'm in Texas and Houston specifically. Houston is the #2 city in the entire US as far as new home builds. So I see them all over the place. There's probably 6 sites around my house where there's new home builds. So I really wanted to point this out to you guys because it's important to know you need to get your data from a trusted source, and anyone can get this data. These graphs update periodically, but not all hope is lost. We just so happen to be in one of the shortest inventory supply crises we've ever been in. But my point is there is relief on the way, not just with the surging interest rates. The surging interest rates is a dramatic hit for purchasing power on home buyers. And one of the reasons especially is we got used to having super low interest rates. All the interest rates are doing right now is going back to normal, but it appears very, very drastic because they were at historic lows through the pandemic and through COVID. But all we're doing is going back to normal. And that's why I'm telling you guys, relax a little bit. Be careful of the data that you're looking at, because from this point forward, I believe that the longer that you're waiting, as long as you don't give up, you're going to have more opportunities to buy. And if you're a first-time home buyer with a long-term mindset to hold and you just want to own a home, I'm telling you, relief is on the way. I keep talking about a crash. So what I want to do is define what I'm saying as far as a housing market crash. Now, what I'm considering on record now, a housing market crash, a 10% decline in equity in a 52-week period or a 1-year period. So if houses go down 10% in 1 year, I'm going to consider that a crash. 10% is a lot, let alone 20 or 30%. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to look at how much is 10%. Is 10% a lot? Is it not a lot? In order to do that, we're going back to Fred economic data, and we're going to look at the median home price for an average house in the US. Okay, guys, as you can see here, here's the graph. Now, pre-COVID, here's where we're at, okay? Around 337,000-ish. So we're in the lowish 300,000s. Then COVID hit, stimulus, all kinds of other things. It spikes up to, in Q3, 411, and then Q4, 408. So as you can see, the average median house price just went down. I'm looking at this data because it's essentially untainted data. There's no advertisers on here, so it's really accurate data to look at. But essentially, median home price 408, if we had just a 10%, right, a 10% drop in that, that would put us all the way down here to 360. Okay, so that's $40,000. I know 10% may not sound like a lot, but to me, it's a lot because it's 40 grand. Now, if it dropped 20% in value, which is definitely a crash, right? How could you not say that's not a crash? It would go all the way down to 320, right? So if it's medium at about, we'll just round it down to 400,000. 20% of that is 80 grand, dropping us all the way down to here, which is essentially pre-COVID prices. So a 20% drop right now looks a little bit more like pre-COVID prices at 320. So, like I said, yeah, there's a lot of really bad things happening right now because it's an abrupt change from cheap, super easy money to now really difficult money with a recession looming around the corner. So it seems scary, but what I'm saying, guys, is everyone that is preparing right now, the housing market's coming back. Okay, things are going to get better. But what I want to look at now is the possible recession that's right around the corner. Let's pull up yields and treasuries right now. Okay, guys, here's the yields. And what we're looking at is the 2 and the 10. So if the 2-year at 2.19% goes above the 2.35% on the 10-year, that's a likely sign of recession to come. So it's the 210 that a lot of people are looking at. The 5-year is already inverted, meaning that it is above now the 10-year. The 3-year is still inverted as well. So the 3, the 5 is inverted. The 2 is not. Yesterday, the basis point difference was 13. Today, it's slightly less. It's slightly more at 16 basis point difference. Things can change suddenly, guys. That's just an indicator of a recession. But the reason why I'm talking about a recession is so that people will listen to me and slow down for a minute and properly prepare for these things. So what I want to do is move on to my opinion right now. Now, here's my opinion, you guys. The first thing is inventory will come back as it always does. So be patient, whether you're buying or if you're scared to sell. Understand that these things happen. What we're going through right now is some pain, some transition pain that's likely to continue till spring, possibly summer. But inventory will eventually come back. Now, here's my other opinion. The cost of living has drastically gone up, and things are probably going to continue to get more and more expensive for a little while. So it has never been more important for you to rebudget, to track your financing, and to save your money. This is important now more than ever. And on top of the money saving, credit building. So credit worthiness and money saving is the number 2 thing. Now, number 3, expect a possible recession, which is essentially downgrade in the job market. So essentially just make sure you have proper job security. If you can, pick a job wisely. If you're self-employed or if you're W-2, whatever it is, think about a possible recession, think about a possible downgrade in the job market, and basically just prepare accordingly. And when I say prepare accordingly, maybe save more money before you go living lavishly or purchasing a home. You guys, it is really easy to empower yourself. Number 1 thing you need to do is educate yourself on what you could be doing. Then when you've educated yourself, just do it. Okay. And that is really the point I'm trying to make. Now, that's today's video, guys. We looked at surging interest rates. We looked at the record low inventory. We looked at a possible recession. Now, if you're out there in the market, if you're looking to sell your home, looking at buying a home, I wish you luck out there, and I hope you win.